trend at 2.5 months. Yeah, we're here. It's a sustained trend for the continuation of used car pricing. You want to do this later? Okay, good. It's tea time, ladies and gentlemen, here at Your Auto Advocate.
That's hot.
Oh, but it's good.
That's hot. That's hot, but that's good.
Yeah. It's
almost.
Hot. Yeah.
Almost as hot as
AF.
As you. All right. It is Saturday morning. That means one
somewhere.
thing. That means one thing and one thing only.
Market price report?
Market price report is what we have in the app.
Oh, okay.
It's the weekly market update. And
the WMU weekly market update, not to be confused with the NPR.
And so long as we're both feeling good, we'll do a live stream tonight. So tune in for that, the Deal Analysis live stream. Exactly. Our continued sponsor, findthebestcarprice.com/insider, aggregating, collating, compiling, gathering. Yeah. Manufacturer incentives in one place. Your Auto Advocate. Nope. Findthebestcarprice.com/insider.
Yeah.
That's
Jeff.
Let's hop into the data.
What are we doing again?
Come on.
This is the weekly market update.
Yes.
The WMU.
The WMU.
Yes. Yeah. Well, for the 10th straight week, wholesale used car prices have continued to decline, on average over a half a point again. So you start that, if it's been a half, so they're down about 5 points in the last 10 weeks. So I think if we've gone 10 weeks, 2.5 months, we can safely say that it's a trend.
It's a trend.
It's not an anomaly at this point. It is a trend.
You know what I'm also trying to make a trend?
No.
Wearing corduroy shorts over your Auto Advocate merch. I'm just saying. I'm trying to make that a trend. Tag us on Instagram if you're wearing your Auto Advocate merch, especially once we send out all the free T-shirts. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
At least he gets a shirt. I have a hoodie. I'm not wearing the hoodie indoors today, although I wore 2 hoodies indoors yesterday, and it didn't work.
And we will touch on in a couple minutes. I'll put it down in the timestamps below. The actual wholesale declines for the different types of vehicles. We'll get to that if you want to skip to it. It's down at the bottom. But yes, it's 10 weeks in a row of over a half point. Or more in some weeks, decrease in wholesale prices for used cars.
Yes. Unfortunately, we have not seen a commensurate decline in retail prices. They have remained flat for the last 4 weeks. Yep. So that's getting to be close to a trend, and not one that I like, and not one that I think will continue. I think based on everything that we've been reading, and with the latest issues that we see nationally with COVID, I think we might actually start seeing a decline. And typically this time of year through the first quarter of next year is when you would expect retail prices to go down on used cars.
Yep.
And we anticipate for new cars as well, because we're at the last quarter of the year and we're headed into December, which is traditionally when new car pricing is at their best with the incentives that the manufacturers are offering. Yeah. There has been a continued uptick in retail used car offerings, which would indicate that there's a little bit of a softening of the used car market, but we haven't seen the softening in the pricing just yet. But I would hope that we would.
Sooner rather than later.
It would be nice.
I know when I was reading through the report data, I think I saw that the sold rates at the auctions are starting to tick back up, so that more of the vehicles that are making it to auction are actually getting sold. However, it's the same story in terms of if the dealership's trading a car in or taking in a lease return, it's not even making it to auction, because the volume of vehicles that are being sold at used car auctions is still way down.
Yes.
Way down. Yes. Everyone's hoarding. If you can get your hands on a good used car, you're holding on to it.
Well, yeah, at a dealership, if you're trading it and it's a relatively decent car, rather than take it to the sale, you'll just do whatever requisite reconditioning needs to be done, and you'll keep it because you're going to pay way more at the auction than you would if you just kept it for yourself. And lease returns, as we've mentioned, are the dealers are just saying, okay, this is an opportunity for us to get a good car for our inventory. We're not going to return it to the manufacturer or the manufacturer's captive lender. We're just going to keep it for ourselves. So those cars aren't even making it to the auctions for other dealers to bid on.
Exactly.
It is, at this point, one of the least expensive ways for a dealership to be able to enhance their used car offerings,
Which,
by just buying these cars from the lender.
Which, if you're in the market to buy a car next month in December, and now you're watching this video, one of the things for you to think about would be, my trade-in is more valuable than it has been in the past, and use that as leverage. When you go in and they say, oh, here's what we'll buy your car for, recognize that, sure, that's at the bottom of the Kelley Blue Book, or even below it. Great, that's negotiable, right?
Yes.
And it's a separate transaction, so bear that in mind. That's a key takeaway right now. But when we get into the breakdown of wholesale prices by type of vehicle, also bear that in mind. If you're trading in a minivan or a small pickup truck, like a Nissan Frontier or something like that, okay, those wholesale prices have dropped off a cliff relative to
everything else.
Exactly. And so you have to understand the specifications of your vehicle have implications. Lots of big words, lots of syllables.
Yeah.
Too many syllables.
Yeah, for Shevskas, yeah.
Seriously. They have implications on what's likely to happen at the dealership. I did want to touch on, Dad, the delinquencies numbers in terms of accounts and hardship and things like that.
Before we do that, I wanted to touch on one other thing. That when it comes to using multiple syllables, the only Shevska that can really do that adequately is your sister.
Yeah. She's almost done with her master's degree. Shout out to Dara. That's pretty cool.
Yes, a master's in public policy.
An MPP, I think.
Yeah. If we're going with initials, yes, it is an MPP, a Master's in Public Policy, and if you're going to get that, you have to be able to use multi-syllabic words.
So, accounts and hardship. I wanted to touch on the subprime sector in particular.
There's a reason it's a subprime sector.
Well, so it's important to recognize that across the entire portfolio of outstanding loans that are out there, there has been a 600% increase in terms of accounts and hardship. However, when we look at specifically the subprime sector, 12% of all subprime loans are currently in hardship. It's 3.8% of all automotive loans across the full spectrum of lending. 12% of all subprime loans are in hardship. One of the things that we read in the Black Book report is that repossessions are on the uptick, which makes sense. However, the speed and velocity at which those repossessions are happening is slowed down by the coronavirus. Literally, the act of repossessing a vehicle now takes longer than it did before because of, I guess, different safety concerns and things like that. And so you're not seeing this huge influx of repossessed vehicles quite yet. Although you'd imagine, like, it's bound to happen.
Well, and the fact that I believe Congress has adjourned and there is no a stimulus package or any type of package to help those that are in need at the moment, especially going into the holiday seasons when it's the toughest time of the year to begin with anyhow.
Yep.
I think if people are going to have to choose between holiday gifts for their family and making their car payment, my suspicion is that, well, the car payment's going to fall a little behind holiday gifts for the family. And that we'll probably see an even a greater uptick in hardship cases and the number of loans that are falling into default that lenders are delaying any action on, because what are they going to get for them?
Yeah.
How are they going to be made whole? I think a lot of the lenders would rather just run the risk of having more hardship cases and at least have income coming in from those when people can pay, as opposed to repossessing those vehicles and having to deal with that.
Maybe, yeah, I don't know. But then again, used car prices are relatively high, so maybe you do want to repossess them to go sell them. So I'm not sure. Either way, as a car buyer, recognize that the influx of used car supply, it's happening, but it's not at the rate that people want to make it out to be. Especially even when Hertz went bankrupt, everyone was like, well, there's going to be hundreds of thousands of used cars. Now they liquidate in like a much, a very meticulous and planned out way. want to talk about the sales rate of actual vehicles at auctions. So I'll put the chart up on the screen. You can see what happened on the left of this chart. That was back in March when coronavirus came. There was this huge cratering in terms of vehicles that were actually being sold at the auction block, and then it rebounded and it's kind of stabilized. One of the things that we talked about before we turned the camera on is what's going to happen with this new really severe spike of COVID cases. Are we going to see another, almost like a round two of what happened when coronavirus came in the first place, in terms of a big drop off in the number of vehicles that are being sold, pretty much a standstill in the automotive market? And so it is interesting to just reflect a little bit on what did happen and wonder, is that prescriptive for what could happen if things continue to go down the path they're going down?
Well, it seems as if we're in a deeper place when it comes to the number of coronavirus cases that we're seeing on a daily basis. I mean, it's approaching 100 and some thousand, 170,000 a day, which is huge. Those are bigger numbers than what we saw in March. And so at a certain point, our dealers, our states, our cities going to have to figure out different ways to try and mitigate the spread of the disease. And so, that could have an impact again, much like we saw in March. Now, when that impact will happen, I don't know.
No, we're not in a position to prescribe that. However, we can look at what did happen.
And suspect that it very well might happen again. And if it does, all these cars that the dealers have purchased at relatively high numbers on the wholesale market, it could just be a killer situation for them, because they're going to want to have to turn that stuff into cash at some point.
If you remember, Dad, when this all started with coronavirus in March, I was actually looking to sell my Volvo then. And if I'm not mistaken, I went on a Monday to the local, I think it's Dar Cars Volvo in Maryland, and I got an offer for $16,000, something like that. And I went back by that Thursday to go sell it, or that Wednesday to actually go sell it, and the used car manager came to me and said, I just got off of a meeting with ownership and we're not allowed to buy any cars. They literally said, we're not buying any cars.
Yep.
And then fast forward to I sold my Volvo, 2-3 months ago or whatever it was, to Carvana at the height of used car prices.
Yes.
For $20,000.
Yes.
So again, if things become as unsettled as they were back in March, you're going to see this huge decrease in prices. Remember how crazy the new car incentives were?
Yep.
You'll see a huge push of new car incentives to try and move inventory again. So we don't know what's going to happen with regards to a virus.
I think we've proven that over the last several months.
Oh, the amount of comments we get of, it's been 6 months and you were wrong. We're aware. We're very aware. We're honest about it. However, if that does happen again, it's going to be this paradigm shift in terms of car prices and incentives and things like that. So it's something to bear in mind.
Well, and the dealers that have plenty of cash on hand, they will once again take advantage of buying used cars at the bottom,
like crazy,
and holding on to them so that they can have inventory to sell and make big profits on again when things rebound.
Exactly. Yep.
Because we saw dealers do that in March and April.
Huge.
Yes.
All right, let's wrap up, Dad, with the actual breakdown by vehicle. Does that sound good?
Yeah, I'll let you handle it. That's your strength, buddy.
I can read charts like the best of them.
Better than me.
So for cars, as you can see up on the screen right now, it was an 80.82% decrease week over week in wholesale prices. Subcompact cars, not that much. Compact cars, very much so. Mid-size, full-size, also substantial decreases week over week, well over a point. And you can see when it comes to luxury vehicles and sporty cars, etc., they're not seeing as big of a decline week over week. Then when we focus our attention on the trucks, SUVs, and vans, what's really surprising here, well, not surprising, is compact vehicles, SUVs. They're maintaining and retaining their value better than their peers. I like to focus on minivans and small pickups. The decreases there are magnitudes greater than full-size trucks, obviously,
absolutely.
or full-size vans. So if you're in the market for a small pickup truck, a Nissan Frontier, a Ford Ranger, let's see, how many small pickup trucks do I know? Chevy, Colorado. No.
Colorado?
Yeah, maybe that might be one. Canyon, GMC Canyon. Yeah.
Now you're showing.
Now ask me how many minivans I know.
None.
Pacifica?
That's a minivan, yeah.
There we go.
Sienna.
Sienna? Odyssey?
Yeah. Odyssey, yeah. Yeah. What's the...
Quest?
There you go. I was going to ask you, what's the Nissan one? And you got it, buddy.
Every once in a while,
I'm
man.
proud of you.
If you're in the market for one of those, wholesale prices have declined. Also, if you're trading one of those in, recognize your car is not worth as much as it was last week.
Yes. I think we've hit all the highlights, and well, we're too deep into this for me to do a watch update.
No, take the watch off. Come on.
But this is a Charles Hutton. This is the Charles Hutton Defender 2
Let me do this without
with a
spilling
Japanese
my tea.
movement in it. I have no idea where Charles is from or his watch
Get
company.
off your
I can
face.
tell you, I got this off of Watch Gang.
We are not sponsored by Watch
We
Gang.
are not, but perhaps we should be. It's a chronograph of some kind. It's pretty attractive. On their website, on the Charles Hutton website, it's a $265 watch, and through the Watch Gang, it was $100 plus shipping. So I think it came out to about $117, and it's actually a pretty attractive watch, I would say. You
No, it's pretty good looking.
yeah, you could disagree, but I'm pretty happy with it for $100. I mean, how can you go bad for $100? Well, I know how you go bad. You get that happy watch I have, which is the most expensive cheap watch I've ever bought.
Watch Gang, contact us. You know,
Yeah, please feel free to contact us at Your Auto Advocate, and if you want to provide me with some additional watches, I guarantee I'll provide you with some more mentions.
And final note, if you've made it this far, join us for the live stream tonight. Continue to send your deals in. We'll do the analysis.
Yes.
And like always, we appreciate everyone that watches these
Like
things.
always, my son's keeping me busy in retirement. Thank you very much.